One of the great things about camping in the snow is you can take the weight off of your back and put it into a Pulk. Stay tuned, I'm going to show you how you can build your own Pulk. So a Pulk is a Nordic sled that's used by Nordic skiers. It's also used by ice fishermen, used by hikers like myself. Pulks come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. They come in 12-foot long wooden toboggans. They come in bathtub-shaped big black sleds that ice fishermen use. And the kind that I use is actually a little bit smaller than those because I don't have to carry as much gear. The Pulk that I'm using is right here. And the nice part about a Pulk is when I go backpacking, my backpack usually has a capacity of about 40 liters. It usually weighs, anywhere from 22 to 32 pounds. A lot of you backpackers, it might be a little bit higher. But what the point I'm trying to make is with a Pulk, you can carry a lot more stuff because that weight is off your back. It's on the sled being pulled behind you. So this Pulk right here, I have no idea, but I think it's probably got a capacity of 200 liters and it could probably pull weights of 60 to 70 pounds. So I'm going to show you how you can build a Pulk like this and carry more stuff that you really need when you're out camping in the snow, opposed to trying to carry it on your back. But before I do that, like I said, my name is Jeremy with Midwest Backpacker. If you like backpacking, hiking, outdoor adventure, and some gear videos, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the bell notification. Okay, so I'm going to show you everything that you need for building a Pulk just like this one. I have it over here on my work table. The first thing that I will point out is this is the Paris Expedition Sled. I picked this one up for $60. Now you can find sleds that are cheaper than this, like a little kid sled, but this one is a real thick plastic and really durable. And you'll see a lot of people use these sleds for Pulks, and they're used for building Pulks. So beyond the sled, what I have here is, you'll see above it here, is a 10-foot long PVC conduit, 1/2 inch. I have 4 3/8 inch by 5 inch eye bolts, and the eye bolts have 2 nuts on them, one on the front, one on the back here. I have 4 of these caps, PVC caps for the conduit, 2 Heavy Duty Carabiners. Here's a channel kit from skipulk.com, a can of Plasti Dip. It's kind of a rubber coating paint that you can buy in the tools section. Just a little Velcro strap, 2 tubes of epoxy, a 10-yard long, 2-inch in width poly strapping, 4 heavy-duty plastic buckles here in the strap binders, and then the final thing here is the big canvas bag that goes inside of your Pulk. So that is everything that you'll need for building this Pulk. I am not including the harness. A harness is something that you'll also need, but you can buy that separately from this. And here's a list of all of those items and their prices. I've also included a complete list of all the materials and where I purchased them in the video description. We're going to start the build by measuring out the straps and cutting 2 straps to 72 inches and 2 straps to 43 inches. The next step, I take the two longer straps, the 72-inch straps, and insert them through the 4 existing holes on one side of the sled. This can be very difficult, and I used a pliers to help me get started. I then insert the shorter 43-inch straps on the 4 existing holes on the opposite side of the sled. To prevent future fraying, I melt all 8 ends of the 4 straps. I then move over to my sewing machine and fold 2 inches over on the longer straps and sew the ends. This will help prevent the buckles from slipping off. I then put on the buckle slides and the male end of the buckles on those longer straps. I then grab the female end of the buckles and slide them onto the shorter straps, making sure they are in the right direction. I fold 3 inches over on the straps and then secure those buckles by sewing the strap together. All right, the straps, the buckles, they're all installed and on the Pulk. I want to point out to you that it's very important that you do things in the right order of what I just did. I cut the straps, I inserted them through the holes, then I melted the end of the straps, and then I sewed the straps. And the reason why it's really important that you do that in the right order is it's a super tight fit to get the straps through these holes. You saw how much muscle I had to use to get it through the holes. And if you melt the end of the straps or you sew the straps, it's going to be darn near impossible to get that strap through the holes. So cut, insert through the holes, melt, sew. Okay, I need to address the 800-pound elephant in the room. I really suck at sewing. I bought that $30 sewing machine off Facebook Marketplace, taught myself how to sew. I've doctored up Costco quilts and done some other things, but I really don't have a resume of being a sewer. You know, the cottage vendors don't have to worry about me taking over their business because there's no way I'd be able to sell one of these with the rotten stitching. That being said, even though it's a -3 out of 10 for my sewing skills, it's functional. It's ugly, but it's strong and it's sturdy and it works. You know, if you want to save some money, go buy a sewing machine like I did. Teach yourself how to do it. The manual that comes with it, YouTube, you can teach yourself how to do it. If you don't want to learn how to use a sewing machine, you probably could sew these with a needle and thread. It would just take you a little bit longer. So sewing is out of the way. Now I'm going to go into installing some hardware in building our poles with some tools that I'm a little bit more comfortable using. I'm going to show you now how to install the channel kit. We mark back 1.25 inches from the existing hole on the Plasti sled. We take our backer plate, and the one hole goes in the back, and we line that up. We just need to mark the back hole. We take our drill with a 1/4 inch drill bit in it and drill a hole. We take our backer plate and put it back on. Stick one of our screws through there. And then we drill our other 2 holes. Take this back out. Grab our channel. We put our 2 screws through the channel, and then we insert it through the 2 holes. We take our backer plate and put it underneath, thus the name backer. Put a couple nuts on, locking nuts. We're just going to put them on hand, finger tight. Then we're going to take our 3rd screw and a fender washer, stick that through the backer plate in the hole. Tighten it up. Then I'm going to tighten the screws. Then we stick our pins through, and you want to make sure that you stick the pin through this direction and not this direction. The reason is if it were to fall off, if it were to come off, you want it to fall in your sled and not on the ground. Now I'll repeat the same step over on this side. The channel kit is installed on both sides. Now I'm going to cut my PVC conduit. So my conduit here is actually 2 inches shy of 10 feet. So I've marked a line on the conduit here that is 59 inches up from the end of the conduit. And I'm going to cut it there. And then down on this end, I'm going to cut it right before it gets to this part that's a little bit bigger, because I don't want that part on our poles. So I'm going to run outside, cut it on my saw, sand the end of the poles, and come back in to finish them. Here's another good use for your camp stove. What I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my eye bolts. One without a nut on it. I melted holes through all 4 of the end caps using this bolt. Of course, that bolt will come out of there. I'm heating up my other bolt here, and I'm going to be melting the ends of the PVC pipes so these bolts will fit right through the pipe. The PVC pipe is round, and of course these bolts are not. By melting through the hole, it'll fit a little bit better and a little bit tighter, and it'll hold a little bit better. These aren't exactly chestnuts, but they're definitely nuts roasting on an open fire. All right, I gotta do both ends of both poles. The next step, now that I have my PVC poles melted and prepped, and I have the caps melted and prepped, I've taken my eye bolts, taken both of the nuts off, shoved the cap on the end of the eye bolt, like so. Tighten one of the nuts all the way up as far as you can go, leaving a little bit of space between it and the PVC cap. And then put the other one on. So it's just on the end. So you have one on the end, one on the inside, and you have that PVC cap covering the end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some epoxy and then stick these right on the end, and they'll stick right in there. All right, I have the eye bolts set, both ends of both poles. Before I head in for the night, I want to tell you one of the most important things that you can do when you're setting those is make sure that on both ends the eye bolts are parallel with each other. Make sure that they are angled so, you know, that one and that one are angled the same direction. So when you hook it up to your harness and when you hook it onto that channel there, you want them to be parallel because they'll both be vertical. So you don't want that turned or cockeyed. So I'm going to let this epoxy set up overnight, and then I'm going to head back tomorrow morning and finish up. My epoxy has had a chance to dry overnight and set. Looks super secure, nice and solid. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip all 4 ends in this Plasti Dip. Now I have to dip it 4 times for 4 coats, and it needs about a half hour in between coats to set up. The Plasti Dip on the end of the poles and the eye bolts is pretty much dry now. It looks good, nice and pretty. I'm just going to finish up the last few steps here of building our Pulk. The next step is to connect the Pulk to our channels. So you just stick the eye bolt, pull out the pin here, stick the pin back through. Same thing on the other side. And then on the other end of the poles, we're going to put on our Heavy Duty Carabiners. This is what is going to connect the poles to that harness that you're going to be wearing. This is what connects it onto you. The final step is when you're walking with a Pulk on a hilly area, you have better control of the Pulk if you have the poles crossed over instead of straight. So this piece of Velcro goes right where the poles cross, kind of to hold them together and to provide some stability. So there you go. That is our Pulk. So this Pulk ended up costing about $160. With the big canvas bag, it goes up another $25 to $185. Now, if you don't think that you want to tackle building a Pulk like this yourself, one pretty much identical to this is available at skipulk.com, the same place where I ordered this channel kit. So skipulk.com, it's a guy and his wife, very small business, rural Minnesota, very good customer service. So if you want to buy a Pulk identical to this, where it's the Paris Expedition, they charge $250, which is $90 more than what it cost me to build it. If you want to order the duffel bag through them, that is, I believe, another $75. You know, the duffel that I ordered on Amazon was $25. So if you want to save $50, even though you're buying your Pulk, you could order your duffel bag from Amazon instead of skipulk.com. That being said, the bag from skipulk.com is probably better than this bag and worth the extra dollars. But another great thing about doing it yourself is you can customize things. You know, my Pulk has orange straps. My buddy Chuck, who I built this Pulk for, said that he wanted camo straps, so that's what we put on there. There's probably 25 different colors of straps that you can order. But it was a good build. I can't wait. Actually, next week I'm going to go out camping in the snow. I'm going to be able to bring my Pulk out, chill out in the snow around the campfire, bring that extra gear in my Pulk. It's going to be a great time. Hey, if you like this video, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit that bell notification. Check me out on Instagram, check me out on Facebook. Check out the merch in Teespring. Don't be afraid to go camping in the snow, friends. Until next time, we'll see you out on the trail.